WeatherScope.
Well, a multifaceted storm system is bringing a variety of weather to the eastern half of the nation. Good evening and welcome to this edition of WeatherScope. I'm Kim Perez. This has been a snowbound Sunday for many of you in parts of Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa. Some major roads are closed as blowing and drifting snow continues to cause problems tonight. The same large weather system brought flooding rains and damaging storms to the southeast. Rivers and creeks have spilled over their banks and there have been several reported tornadoes. Now we'll have live coverage of the snowy weather, but we'll begin with an update from the Forecast Center on the dangerous storms in the southeast. Here's Christina Abernathy.
Thanks a lot, Kim. That's of course the other side of the system is the severe weather and also the flooding. We've seen a lot of rain, unfortunately, and that has caused some problems. Here's the situation. We've got plenty of Gulf moisture flowing in here out ahead of this cold front, warm, moist air in place, and unstable environment, and a lot of rain and a lot of embedded thunderstorms. And unfortunately, the threat for severe weather here in parts of Florida and Georgia on up into Tennessee and points northward as well. So we have the threat of severe weather, also the threat for flooding, and a lot of rain has fallen throughout the southeastern U.S., including in Florida. Pensacola, to be exact, one of the areas that's been hard hit. As you can see, heavy rains have flooded streets in this area and turned parking lots into wading pools. And of course, it is advisable to keep your children away from standing water. So a lot of rain has fallen there. The rain continuing to fall, and unfortunately, the threat for severe weather continues. A couple of areas under watches. We've got a severe thunderstorm watch, actually a couple here to the north from extreme southern Ohio and Indiana through Kentucky and Tennessee into a small part of Georgia and Alabama. And we also have a tornado watch here to the south, southeastern Georgia and into northern Florida. So in these areas you can look out for severe storms which could produce large hail. We have had hail with some of these storms, also strong winds, and especially in this area the threat that some of these storms could spawn tornadoes. So you can see the line of storms now marching here from southeastern Georgia back through Florida, and we do have some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for Hamilton County and into Suwannee and also into Columbia County. So look out in Lake City. Things could be rather rough here as this line of storms marches through. And you can see the widespread rain to the north, and lots of heavy rain has fallen in a lot of areas. And as we take a look at a close-up view, you can see still some scattered activity here, scattered storms around Tallahassee, rain and thunderstorms here. Look out in southwestern Georgia as well. To the north, Atlanta still in the rain. There have been flooding problems here. Chattanooga and on up towards Knoxville and Asheville, the rain continuing, and the rain and the storms extending on up through Tennessee and on into Kentucky. And again, another perspective on these storms. Remember, this area is under a severe thunderstorm watch. So you want to look out for the potential for flooding too. Flood watches are in effect in part of Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and into South Carolina. So definitely a lot going on here and a lot of potential for some very nasty weather. Well, we've talked a lot about El Nino recently, and the recent heavy rains that are falling now in the southeast may be due, at least in part, to El Nino, but we are expecting some changes in our overall pattern that will be more typical of a non-El Nino year. An Arctic Express arriving, although a little bit late. We are going to see some colder air moving in. The northern branch of the jet stream will become more dominant, and we are going to see a lot of cold air as we head into especially the eastern half of the country. So get ready for that. That's something we haven't seen in quite some time. Well, a quick reminder, if you need any additional information, you're going to be away from your TV set, please be sure to check us out at weather.com. But for now, we're going to head back to the studio for the rest of the country's weather.
Thanks, Christina. We turn now from the rain and focus on the snow. The plains are experiencing near blizzard conditions while it's snowing in the upper Midwest. After a foot of snow had fallen in Omaha, Nebraska, many of you were out today either with your snow blowers or shovels, trying to clear a path on the sidewalks. You had to bundle yourself up in the kids, that's for sure. Temperatures were only in the mid-20s. Wind chills were a lot lower than that. A few of you chose snowmobiles as your mode of transportation to get out and about. It probably was the only means in some cases. Well, we have two Weather Channel crews covering this story tonight. Jim Cantori is in Topeka, Kansas, while Kristen Dodd is checking the situation in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Let's begin with Jim. Jim, how's it looking out there?
Oh, Kim, we got the snow, we got the wind, we got the thinking that, hey, we thought the spring was just around the corner thing going on. But apparently Mother Nature and El Nino got together and they said, well, let's really give them a blast of winter here in mid-America. And that's exactly what's going on. Some of the coldest air of the season, some of the worst travel conditions. Where I am right now, which is where 470 meets Interstate 70, heading west across Kansas, you can go eastbound toward Kansas City, which is about 60 miles to the east here, but you cannot go westbound. They will not let you on the interstates heading westbound tonight as a result of the roads being closed. And you know what's amazing, Kim, is we've only had about 3 inches of snow here. A lot of it, of course, unmeasurable now because it's dried out and swept on off toward the southwest from the wind direction being from the northeast. And it's just incredible. I mean, some of the drifts that we've seen around just with a few inches of snow are as high as 4 feet. So I can't imagine up in Omaha and up into Des Moines the kind of drifts they're experiencing there. Needless to say, folks, if you do not have to travel tonight, do not. You will not be allowed to.